sir.
Okay. Well, come close because we're going to go through the equipment here. My name is Jeff McGowan. I'm the Garland rep for this area, and we're going to walk you through the equipment. I've been with Garland 38 years, so I've pretty much been in every kitchen and seen every scenario. So we're going to walk you through some of the functionality of the equipment. Some of it will be new to you. Some of it has been around for hundreds of years. So we'll spend less time on the old stuff and a little more time on some of the newer stuff that you may not have seen before. Okay, basic Garland 6-burner range. One oven. None of the stuff is on right now. Am I correct in saying that?
Correct.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
We haven't
So
been
I don't
running
see
it.
pilot's lid, I don't feel heat. I don't see power on some of the electric stuff. So anyway, we're just gonna sort of do a dry run. I don't know if the hood's functioning either. So.
The hood we can start, yes.
Okay. Well, there you go.
And there's your gas. And
Yeah, so 6 open burner range, removable ring grates, cast tops. Cast wants nothing more to do in its life than to turn back into iron ore, so it does that through rust. So you can see rust in different places. You just treat that with oil, and it'll go away.
Treat it with, sorry, what?
oil.
Oil?
Oil.
Oh, cooking
Yes,
oil?
sir. Really cooking oil.
Any oil?
Just fine. Any
Okay.
oil's fine.
Is that called priming it? Is that what that's called? Priming it?
No, it's the
Maintaining
maintenance. It's the maintenance.
Yeah.
Sorry to be.
All right, so you've got your removable ring grate. It only fits in one way. They're interchangeable, so you don't have to forget where you took it from. The gas top. You've got your Starfire burners. Pilot is here. One pilot for both burners, and it's concealed. So once it's lit, it should stay lit forever.
If it does go out, would you just come up here and just light it like that?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
all you do.
Okay.
Oh, there isn't
We
anything
drill the
else?
ports on a 45-degree angle, so they don't usually plug if there's a boil over, that kind of thing. It just drops on like that. Okay. Your valve itself is just a high-low. So when you turn it on, it goes to the high flame, and as you dial it down, it'll eventually go down to a very, very little flame. Okay, so that's the operation of the open burner. It's been that way for hundreds of years. Not a lot of technology or advancements. We go to the oven, thermostatically controlled, baked porcelain enamel interior everywhere. So it's easy to clean. We rib the door. You can cook right on the bottom if you had a high crown height, say a turkey. You can cook right on the bottom of the oven. We rib the door because so hot metal doesn't usually slide very well. So by ribbing it, you can turn the pan, spin the pan.
So you're
season.
saying you take that rack right out?
Yep.
Right on the thing?
Yep.
Okay.
CJ,
Yeah.
you're gonna be cooking.
The door handle itself will remain cool at all times because the door itself is insulated. Then there's stainless steel, then there's a high heat gasket, then there's an aluminum block, and then back to stainless. So what that is just similar metals, and it interrupts the heat. So from going on the door handle, you won't have to put an oven mitt or a towel on it or anything like that. All right. The oven takes 18 by 26 sheet pans, and you've got the racks, or you can cook right on the. Very, very straightforward.
Something as well. Is this thing something?
Yeah, that just lifts up and down, and then you're looking at door springs and just a panel. That oven has the same.
If something goes wrong, we call you, right?
Nope.
No.
I'm sales.
Okay.
Out this direction, I
Sure,
believe
Cat.
we use Elliott's refrigeration.
Elliot's here as well.
Elliott's, yeah,
Elliot's Refrigeration will repair it?
yeah.
Okay.
They're the authorized service
Elliot's
agency.
Refrigeration. That's what we
Okay.
call it.
Any questions on the open burner range? This is just a spreader cabinet, just stainless steel box. That's all it is, nothing really to show you there. Okay, this is a grill range. We look at, see a bunch of numbers, so we know it's thermostatically controlled. Okay, so pick your temperature, 350. It's one plate, and in physics, not Garland, but physics tells us that heat moves to something cooler than itself. So it's unrealistic to think you could be 325 over here for eggs, 350 over here for bacon, and 425 over here for pancakes. Eventually the whole thing's going to be 425 if that's your high setting, because that's just, so you got to pick a temperature that works for you, that'll do a little bit of everything. Okay, thermostatically controlled, there's 3 thermostats. There's a burner here, here, and 6 inches in from that side. Okay, so set your thermostats. Always keep a thin layer of oil on the grill. If you're dropping proteins, that should be enough. There's enough fat content usually. If you're dropping non-proteins, you might want to drop a splash of oil and then put the product on. Okay? You have a grease drawer right here. It's baffled, so you can get it over to the pot sink. It should be dumped like after breakfast, after lunch, after dinner. And we put a hole here so that in the event that they forget to do that, you'll start to see grease running down the front of the range. Okay, so
Where would you dump the grease?
pot sink.
Yeah, in a pot sink you could.
Well,
the grease
because
in
it's
there's
all
after.
it goes to a grease trap from
Yeah.
there, so
Yeah,
that's
but we don't want to get too much.
Do you dump it right down the drain?
No,
not any drain.
Oh, no.
You wanted to drain
The
this.
pot sink would be the best because it's hooked up to a grease trap.
The pot sink, okay. Yeah, okay.
Or we can do it right into a can and then the can can be thrown
Thrown
out.
out,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, sure, yeah.
there's that option as well.
Yeah.
Okay, the oven is the same. Fully baked porcelain enamel. Everything is the same there. These piezo igniters are for lighting the pilot for the grill. Okay, and then once it's lit, you're good to go forever. And so everything that applies to that oven applies to this oven. Okay, this is cute, but long. That's it. That looks much better, right? Okay. Any questions on the griddle range? Oh, cleaning the griddle. Garland doesn't really have a preference, so whatever you're used to, griddle stones, griddle pads, chemical, everything that you've been using it for. Yeah, you've got all griddle stones, okay. That all works, so whatever you've been doing in the past will work for it. Always, though, when you're done, thin layer of oil. There should always be a thin layer of oil on the grill surface. Can't really season grills the way we could 38 years ago because they were cast. And cast was like a sponge, and then once you got the thing all seasoned and conditioned, it was like a non-stick pan, but they're cold rolled steel now. So it's pretty tough to get oil to penetrate the way it would on a cast grill. Okay. This is probably new to you. Have you worked with tilting skillets before? You have. Okay. It's basically that with sides. So you can do anything in here. You can do whole chickens. You can do pork chops. You can do pancakes. You can do whatever. This is it's called also known as a braising pan. Okay. You have a removable lid that's on backwards. It's stainless steel fused onto a plate like that. It's electric, and it just has a thermostatic control to operate. And this is an amazing piece of equipment. Great for prep, great for doing a lot of products. You can poach. You have a vent on it, so you can release some of the moisture from the product as it's cooking. And it's got this massive lift-off cover that you can never find a place to put it. Okay, inside here, along with.
Oh, is that our manual?
No.
No. Packing
This is a
stuff.
manufacturer. This shouldn't even be here. That should stay stayed in the plant.
Do you want it back?
I'll take it with me to
I'll
show
leave it
them.
here.
I'll say, what are you guys doing sending out bill of material envelopes with the product? All right, so we have a diffuser in here. This drawer is plumbed, so it'll just go right out when you're dumping. It's tilting, right? So it's a two-handed mechanism, so you have to deliberately want to tilt it. So it's got what we call a marine latch. You flip that and then you can tilt the product. So you can put a sheet or a insert pan in here, you can pour into it for food that's going on the servery, or for cleaning, you just dump it right in there. This is just an anti-splash, so you don't get it on your knees. But that diffuser really stops a lot of splash. Anyway, it's stainless steel and it's removable, so they can go through the dishwasher. Okay.
How do you keep that up?
For cleaning this, the way Cleveland does it at the factory, they use a granular detergent and a green scouring pad. You can't hurt this, it's got no bottom. Like you're just gonna clean it up, usually it's crust that's left.
Does it tilt further forward, like did you leave it so far so I can get that tab?
He did.
There's another
I
line.
actually didn't do it, but I'll do it now.
Watch.
The water thing.
Oh, yeah, they gotta watch that. And you hit the marine latch, and that's it.
The drawer will come out just like a normal drawer? Is there two little pins on the side to pull that drawer right out?
The drawer doesn't need to come out ever.
Oh, it's just the other
Okay.
insert comes out.
The splash shield is removable
Okay.
on 2 pins, and the diffuser just sits at the bottom, so you can just lift that up. You have a hot and cold pantry faucet for filling and for cleaning and all that. It'll quickly become one of your favorite pieces, especially if you've never used them before. I mean, if you had a big pot like this on the stove, you know how awkward that can be. And for a deeper product, perfect. Just a really nice job. That's the tilting skillet or braising pan. Okay. Now we're going to move over to the steamers. You've got 2 steamers, a 6-pan and a 3-pan. Okay? You have a timer, and you have a compensating thermostat and a clean shield pan these are boilerless units. So you don't have to maintain a boiler, don't have to do any of that. You lift up this clean shield pan, and that is the boiler. The water fills, when you turn it on, the water goes in automatically to the right level and preheats it to 190 degrees. So it just sits there waiting for further instructions. You just dial in your time, hit start, and well, we got power here. Okay. Yeah, we do. I'm not hearing water running, so the water must be off.
Is there
So-
supposed to be racks that go in your water? Like, just slide your pans in on?
Yeah, you're missing the guides.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
There should be guides on each
Yeah.
side that you slide
You can
12 by
slide.
20 pans.
Yeah.
And different depths, 2.5, 4. So I don't know where they'd be.
They were probably all the ones that were in there that were asked to be removed, all the racks were sitting on the shelves.
They're coming. They're on the way. The guy has come. They're coming.
Okay.
Okay.
You have them, though, right?
So we're gonna have them?
The card is shipping on you.
Okay.
We're shipping some?
These to you?
Doesn't sound like us. It must be the dealer that sent them, right? Advantage, I think it was.
Advantage.
Anyway, so when you turn the unit on, like I just did, you should hear water running. The bottom of the steamer fills with water, takes it up to 190, so it's in standby and waiting for further instructions. Your timer here is just you dial in your number and away you go. It has a little button here. It has what's called a compensating timer. And what that does for you as an operator means that my peas are 6 minutes, whether it's 1 pan, 3 pans, or 6 pans. And it means whether I have fresh peas today, but someone didn't take them out of the freezer, so I'm dealing with frozen peas tomorrow, If peas are 6 minutes, all peas are 6 minutes. They could be in there for an hour, but when the cavity reaches 212, that's when it does a countdown. So it's going to be whistling steam, steam's going to be flying around, but the timer's not moving, so it's not broken. It's going to flash, might say pause, pause, pause. It's basically until there's a fair bit of cold air coming off a frozen lump of peas or a frozen lump of anything. So until those BTUs, a lot of BTUs coming off until it gets to 212. The entire cavity gets to 212, then it counts down. So if you need peas at noon, don't put them in at 6 minutes to noon. Okay? Because in reality, it's going to go through that pause thing.
So is it a sensor that senses what's in there?
Yes.
So it's not something that you're programming? to
No, there's no
start time?
programmability. This is just a time and a start. But once you get to know your products and what you remember, it's steam. It's 212. That's as good as it gets, and it's convection steam, so it's whistling around there pretty good.
So you would put your peas in, program it for 6 minutes, once it hit 212, it would then count down to 6 minutes.
You got it. But it could be in there an hour.
Yes.
But is there a list of how much things, because I know on my other one, I had like a little mock thing, you know, the peas is 6 minutes, carrots is this.
That sounds like a computer, not a steamer.
Okay. So how do we know, do we have it on the warranty, is it somewhere that has a list of how long our vegetables are going to be on?
No.
So we're supposed to guess?
It should be in our recipes.
Okay, first of all, for a steamer, the way a steamer works is it gives up its energy on something colder than itself. That's again physics. Okay? So when the food reaches 212 and the steam is 212, it basically stops cooking. Because the only place it can give up its energy is in the drain, which is colder than the cavity. So it'll enter the cavity and just go down the drain.
So once your food is up to,
Once your food's at it's almost
just
impossible.
stops cooking.
It's impossible to overcook in a steamer.
Okay.
All right, so just
so even if we put 6 minutes for peas,
yeah,
if we left them in there for 10 minutes, they still would just be staying at the.
yeah,
What about
exactly.
if they put eggs
There's
in
no,
there?
it's just there's no guesswork with it. That's the thing.
So if they put eggs in there, for
Yeah.
boiled eggs, how long would the boiled eggs be?
6 minutes,
It's the same.
hard boiled eggs.
But once it reaches the 220 temp, it just.
Once it hits 212, once the food hits 212.
It stops.
Well, it doesn't
stays
stop.
It stays at
keeps
212.
going, but
Yeah.
the steam isn't doing anything.
Yeah,
If anything, you're just making it more wet.
yeah.
And
it's-
but like
Very, very simple thing to operate. It's just, in fact, a lot of them, and you can switch it over to manual mode, and manual mode is something like the Kings would do, because it's just food in and food out, food in, food out. They just let the thing run constantly. You know, it's like these ovens here, because you've got convection ovens and you've got combi ovens. Those are usually just set for 350 or 400, and they just run all day. It doesn't matter what's going in and out of them. That's just that's the way operators use them. Little more, it's somewhat different in a facility like this, because you're doing a lot of batch cooking and individual plates. It's a little different. So that's basically the operation of the steamer. If we're used to have to descale a boiler, periodically you'll take this bottom shield out, it's called clean shield, and you can just spray some vinegar in there. You'll be able to see white, usually from the calcium magnesium that comes out of the water when you eat.
That needs to be just scaled so often, right?
Yeah, but it's visible.
Yeah, okay.
It's not hidden in a box behind the panel,
Yeah.
you know, and you don't really.
You'll be able to know that we need to.
well, you just see the white building
Yeah, you'll
on
see
it.
it.
anyways.
Hit it with vinegar, let the vinegar sit overnight, and then
So would you just run it like regular to clean it, or is there a clean cycle
no,
on it? Just run it steams.
just by visual.
Okay.
Very, very simple.
But you don't have to do anything with like the lines?
Nope.
No? Okay.
This is the boiler. And the steam, once the water turns to steam, or once it starts to boil, it's shooting steam into the cavity. This is the way we made them 100 years ago. And then we got complicated with boilers and
Yeah.
all this other stuff. And now we're going back to boilerless because
Yeah.
of the nuisance of maintaining the boilers.
Yes.
And very expensive to fix if they're not maintained. Okay? Doors designed just to slam like that. This will out-steam a combi oven. Combi ovens give you the ability to bake. A convection oven will bake better. So a steamer will steam better. But a combi oven is all purpose, right? So
But it puts a lot of wear and tear on the combi oven to use it as a steamer, right? You're better to-
exactly, that's the problem with a lot of combi ovens, and we
Makes
have,
their less-
Garland has their line of combi ovens as well. And quite honestly, they really should have had a steamer. If you start using a combi oven as a steamer,
You
you're
can
gonna
increase
kill.
the life of it.
You're gonna kill it.
Significantly. That's what
A
I heard.
combi oven, it can do everything, but it doesn't have to be okay. Where like a steamer.
Yeah,
Steam
it's
and
more
then-
specialized, right?
Yeah.
Convection oven, bake a combi oven all day long. But combi ovens really need to be used in combi mode.
That's the,
That's the thing, right? But steamers are so efficient because 1 cup of water equals 1,500 cups of steam. That's the expansion. So that's how it can pack that wall up. I can put my hand over that open burner range, do this all day, and it's 450 degrees, and I reach into the ear without letting the thing evacuate. I'm scalded, and it's only 212 degrees. So it's that energy transfer that makes steam so efficient. It's the most efficient way to cook, to heat a building. Like it steams the best, but it's limited by 212. That's the problem. Any question on the steamer? It all come together and makes sense once you get going and you got food and you'll have give them a combi oven. You've got 4 week learning curve, and then it's just pushing buttons.
yeah.
Oh yeah, let's come around the other side. Okay, combi oven is not mine, so I'm not going to touch on that. Okay, you have convection ovens. Everyone worked on convection ovens? Well, if you know what you're doing with a convection oven, it'll be fine. If you're struggling with it, you do a couple things wrong, and this is raw and this is burnt, and it can be quite challenging. The key thing with a convection oven is it always needs, like any oven, needs to be preheated. And you really got to let that thing balance out, because you got that fan whipping around doing whatever it's doing in the air. The idea with a convection oven is get in, get out, work in front of the fan as much as possible, and if you have full loads of 5 racks, say cookies, well, you load the whole thing. It's not uncommon for the middle to bake faster. So remove that, but then don't leave those sheet pans up and down. Get them in front of the fan. Okay, so you want to work in front of the fan as much as possible. You cannot cook on the bottom of a convection oven. You need to draw the air into the fan, and then it blows around the top, the sides, back to the front, and then suck back in. That's the nature of a convection oven. The fan, it's driving the air around. So you cannot cook on the bottom. Don't put tin foil. I'm going to tell you this, and I won't be on the highway long, and you'll be putting tin foil on them. But the problem with tin foil, I've been at this too long. The problem with tin foil in anything with a fan. So your steamers, your combi oven for sure, and your convection oven, tin foil has a way of breaking off. And the smallest little piece It goes right into the fan. And it causes all kinds of problems. Now you've got an extra weight, and now the wheel's going wonky and the shaft's going wonky, like and it always goes to the fan. So if you have a piece of equipment, any piece of equipment with a fan, no tinfoil. And like I said, I won't get far down the road and you guys will put tinfoil.
What about parchment paper?
That's the parchment paper's fine.
You're okay with it? Okay.
I'm okay with parchment paper. Okay. You've got high speed, low speed, as far as the control goes. You've got cook and cool down. Cool down does a bunch of different functions for you. If you were doing root vegetables at 425, and now you want to do cookies at 325, your oven's too hot. So you open the door and you hit the cool down button and the fan blows the heat out of the oven. The second feature of cool down is you can't clean a hot oven. So you got to get your oven temperature down below 150. Otherwise your oven cleaner or whatever you're using is just going to bake to the wall of the oven and you'll never get it off. So you want to cool the oven down before you clean. And the third function of cool down is more of a manual thing, but it makes sense if you think about it. If that oven's 350 degrees in the box, that means that wheel is 350 degrees. And if you just turn an oven off and walk away, and you can do that, that heat, ambient heat now is going to go to the shaft, and the shaft goes into the motor. So you can greatly extend the life of your motor if you run it cool down at the end of the day, just to get the ambient heat out of the box and away from the shaft and the motor. So 20 minutes is all you need usually. Just put it to cool down, open the door, and then walk away. Your light, you have a light, you got to hold the button for it to stay on. It's temperature, and this is your timer. If you ever get an error code on the timer, you just hold this in for 5 seconds and the timer will reset. It's a built-in engineering thing. Okay, so it'll say, you'll get an error code there, and you just hold that in for 5 seconds. This is just a dial for time in minutes. Okay. This oven is identical to that oven. So they work exactly the same way and do things exactly the same way. Cleaning, it's baked porcelain enamel again. All the racks come out, and so if you're using an oven cleaner or degreaser or whatever you're doing, sugar and proteins are your enemy. Other stuff, you can bake croissants in here all day long, no issues as far as cleanability. Okay, any questions on the convection oven? Okay, get in, get out, keep the doors closed. You take out a tray and you walk wherever you're walking and you leave the doors open, you're going to affect everything that's still in the oven. Convection ovens need balance. And if you can maintain that balance, preheating, keeping the doors closed, moving stuff in front of the fan, you'll have no issues. But if you start doing, like I said, you'll do one thing wrong. Croissants are the worst to bake even. So much butter, sugar ratios, and baking is science. You'll get raw, burnt, you can if you're not working the oven properly. And always knock temperature off. You probably, other than root vegetables, you'd never put anything in this in here more than probably 350 degrees. More like 325, especially for cookies and pies and things like that, sheet cakes, because of that very thing, unevenness. And if you find you've got a product that's uneven, you can spin the pan halfway through the bake. Okay, so if you're looking at something like, say, a sheet cake is a pretty good example because it's 18 by 26, and you can see that, ooh, this side's cooking way faster than this side. Spin the pan. Okay. All right, kettles.
So this one and this one are the same?
No, it's
No,
combi.
that's a combi oven. Okay, so that's a convection oven, and then when you flick of a switch, it's a steamer, and a flick of a switch, it's now a combination steam and convected hot air. I said earlier that steam is it's the best way to cook, fastest, most energy efficient, but it's limited by 212 degrees. A combi oven allows you to now have 350 degree steam, 425 degree steam, because you're putting ambient heat into a 212 degree environment. So that's what differentiates a combi oven from a convection oven and a steamer. Okay? All right, kettles. I know you're all looking at these thinking soup. Got to get out of that thought process. These are much more than soup. You can brown off ground beef in minutes. Kettles are, we got a big one, a small one, but they virtually work the same. They're 2/3 jacketed, so from this bubble here down, that's your heat zone. Kettles are really a double boiler. If you have it home, put a pot, fill it full of water, put another pot. That's basically what a kettle is. In this jacket is distilled water and glycol. The glycol's in there because we ship in Canada and half the year it's freezing, so we don't want to crack the jacket. Okay, you got a lift-off cover on this one, and you've got a spring assist cover on the larger kettle. Okay, kettles. They're 316 stainless steel, which is a high nickel grade steel. Stainless, and I said stainless, not stain proof, because there's a difference. You can stain a kettle and you can pit a kettle. So there are things that you need to thoroughly rinse out depending on the products. Tomatoes, citrus, things like that. So if you're making a lot of tomato sauce or pasta sauce, you want to really rinse the kettle because the acid will stain or pit the kettle. Okay. Chlorine, if you're using chlorine to clean, chlorine is just attacks stains. It loves stains. It just devours it. Okay, so you gotta, if you're cleaning with a chlorinated product, thoroughly rinse out the kettles. And if you just see a pit or a pock mark, just hit it with a scouring pad, and if you catch it fast enough, it'll disappear. But if you don't, it'll start to attack the stains. Okay, so chlorinated product, acidy products. Okay, those are things you have to watch out for. Okay. Same marine latch on this kettle that you have on the tilting skillet. So it's a two-handed operation. Same diffuser and splash guard. Works exactly the same as the skillet. Hot and cold pantry faucet. Now, I mentioned the kettle, great for chilies, stews, poaching, anything like that. It's much more than soup. Okay? And a great prep piece. Like you can start stuff off in the kettles and then move them to other areas of production. Okay, so there's quite a bit to what kettles can do, more than soup. It will do soup. So, this kettle, the larger one, has what's called a tangent draw off. So you can pour out through this spout into the floor drain. You could hang a pail on there and pour into that, or an 18 by or a 12 by 20 sheet pan. This needs to be cleaned. All right, that's how you open the tangent, and you can get a tangent brush to clean out the tangent. This is high tempered stainless, very, very expensive. And it took Cleveland years to get an NSF approved O-ring. They used to be metal on metal. So if you're wherever in a facility, you'd always see these things dripping. Because once they fell in the pot sink once and it went out around, wouldn't seal. So commonly they drip. But we got this NSF approved O-ring now. We've had it for quite a few years. And the thing is with this, You want to do everything hand by hand. You don't use a big wrench. And you just use hand tight is all you need. Okay? Because being this grade of stainless, you can torque right if you really. So you want to just go hand tight like that. If you see a drip, give it another little tug, and that's it. Because if like in prisons, I have all kinds of trouble because they big gorilla and he just torques the thing and he shoots right through the O-ring and then they drip them like, or they strip the tangent, which is very expensive to fix. So just hand tight. And if it drips, give it another little twist. Okay, infinite controls on both kettles. Okay, so you don't have a temperature, but you got 1 to 10. If you wanted it to boil, you go up to 10. Oh, this is on too. Okay, you're gonna hear cracking. Sometimes the water. Perfectly normal, don't call anybody. That's the elements kicking in for the first time. That will minimize. Inside these jackets are a ton of little coils. And that's what heats the jacket, which heats the product in the kettle. Okay? It's a solid state thermistor control, accurate to plus or minus 1 degree. So what that does is it gives you extreme accuracy. I'll use 150 as a number, not that you see a thermostat anywhere, but it would be 150, 151, 150, 149, 150, 151. Okay, if I asked 100 cooks and 300 chefs what simmer means, I'd get a lot of different answers. Simmer means tight temperature control. If I used an analog or a control, or I'm going to go 180, then I'm going to fall to 120, 180, 120, 180, 120. That is not accurate temperature precise control. Okay, so the solid state thermistor control, I could set this for 1, 1.5, and I could make a hollandaise sauce without turning it into scrambled eggs because of that precision. Okay, and that's a very worthwhile feature. It got us the order for KFC gravy, which the gravy's the worst anyway. But it was that they couldn't have it go almost boil, almost lukewarm, boil, lukewarm. It really affected the gravy. So they ordered 70 or 80 kettles from us out west. So it's the accuracy of the control. So, and then just operating the kettles, you just go by what's going on in the pot. You need a rolling boil, 10, and wait. The other thing that attacks stainless is salt. I don't think I mentioned that. So salt, chlorine, acid products. So if you're using those things, you got to be conscious of cleaning the kettle and thoroughly rinsing it. Any questions on the kettle?
Function of the gauge?
The function of the gauge. What gauge? This?
No, in the back.
Oh, in the back. We don't want to talk about stuff in the back. That gauge is for service.
Okay.
These kettles operate under a vacuum. And being a pressure vessel, by code, we have to put a relief valve on. And if the relief valve ever goes, and in 38 years I've seen it happen twice, so they almost never go. But if they do, it means too much pressure built up in here. That's what the gauge is for. And the pressure relief valve blows, you'll just hear a noise and a big cloud of steam. Nothing to worry about. But then you got to call the service agency because they have to refill the kettle. They'll just use distilled water, and they will pull. They can burp it and pull a vacuum again, and that's what the gauge is for.
Just a monitor.
Yeah, it's just so you can see that it's operating properly.
Yeah.
But you won't really have to ever worry about it or look at it until, and I've only seen it happen twice. So it's not a very common occurrence. Okay. That's it for me.
Behind you, is the meat slicer yours? No?
Nope,
No?
no, I just,
These are pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah.
I just cook. That's it. So, any questions on anything?
This doesn't tilt, right?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
It's got a worm gear.
Yeah.
Because this thing will be like hundreds and hundreds of pounds.
And just be careful, because they're not bolted in yet, so all of them have to
Oh,
be
okay,
bolted
so they gotta
down.
get, yeah,
Yeah.
positioned and then shot into the floor.
Any
Yes.
questions, guys? Anything?
You got a great kitchen. You'll be able
Yes.
to turn out some food.
Mhm.